Tim Hildabrand, if you can come up and say a few words. We're going to be Tim's going to talk a little bit about some of the basics of social media. I know that we've got people in the room of all experience levels, and Tim is the CEO of HSTAR Inc. and has lots of experience with bringing people up from ground zero. So say hello to Tim.
I'm Tim Hildabrand, and I am a geek. And I don't have a sport jacket because I didn't really know I was going to be speaking, so I have to kind of wing it here. I started off a company, kind of give you a little feedback. My father was one of the first employees of Toys R Us, and kind of know how Toys R Us grew. So I think maybe I must got it from him, but I started off a company in Silicon Valley a long time ago, 80, geez, totally my age now, 85. And basically one employee grew it to about 25 employees. And we were an automotive company, believe it or not, working on cars. You know, nothing computerized at all. But as things started to grow, we watched, you know, what happened in what was going on with computers. And they actually, in 1991, we started a BBS. If any of you remember what BBSs were, in the old days you had a modem. People would call into your modem, actual phone. You know, nobody had, there was no internet back then. They'd call into a modem and they would access your computer, and inside your computer we had a bulletin board system. Now this was the early days of social media. This is really what kind of started it. And basically what happened was, you know, we'd be in there, they'd be talking back and forth. It was all, you know, ASCII characters and, you know, stuff that nobody has to deal with anymore. But we would, you know, have communication going. So right away we'd already have people talking to us, hey, I have this problem in my car, what's going on? So we'd write back, and I was very active in it and probably should have been paying more attention to business than the BBS, but this was really cool. We had communications with people all over the country and all over the world. We had people from Germany and Australia. So we were communicating with them, kind of giving them, hey, here's what's, you know, possible problems with your car. Hey, here's a new item that's really cool that's out there. And that really pushed us into the leading company as far as being the leading company in this market online. We had one of the first online e-commerce stores for automotive products. So we continue to grow, and one of my jobs as company president was really to make sure what was happening in the company and reeling the pulse of what's happening in the people in this field. It was a Volkswagen Audi community, and it's almost as religious as being a Mac enthusiast. These guys, you know, they love these cars, and so by being involved, I constantly kept an eye on what was happening. I was out there writing, giving tips, giving advice, telling people the new products are coming out, and not doing it in a self-promoting way, but doing, hey, here's some cool products, and you can buy them from anybody. I'm not trying to, you know, push it. By allowing that to happen, I grew a huge audience. And one of the first things I did when I launched my company was put an ad in a national magazine. Again, no internet, no real social media yet, and this was even before the BBS. And so that was to get the word out of who you are and what you know, offered, the specialty that we did. We were a really, very niche business. Up here, I couldn't have this business up here because, you know, now I could because you can do virtually, but it was really being a niche side of that business. So we grew, and that became large. Finally, the internet came along and expanded the company. As that was happening, another thing we did was I was one of the founding board members of Silicon Valley Young Entrepreneurs Organization, which is really promoting businesses or all over $1 million businesses. And it was a great resource and something I'd like to see started up in this area, and maybe forget the $1 million part, but just have the entrepreneur you know, spirit. Because basically any business person, you feel like you're alone out here. You know, it's all by yourself. I mean, luckily now we have social media to connect and kind of talk about, you know, what's going on. And I'm all over the place because I really don't have an organized presentation, so I kind of, like my mind, it's constantly going all over the place. So one of the things we found, I actually sold my company in 2002, thought I was retiring, and moved up here and realized I could not sit around and be retired, so I started another company, which is a technology company in Calaveras County. And another thing I found moving up here, and you know, there's a lot more in social media than just, you know, like I said, we were involved right when websites started. We were involved when they first came out. We were one of the first e-commerce sites. One of the biggest places we found and generated some of our large amount of customers, and the biggest thing in any type of business is customer trust. And what I found was being involved in the community, we had one website that everybody went to. And these guys, and actually we were with them and almost got bought out by a large company that was going to be going public. And luckily it was right before the bust, so we said, let's not, and of course they went bankrupt the next year. So it was a good lesson learned. But one of the things we found with this community is we knew where all of our customers were. Because if you were into a Volkswagen Audi, you were right here in this website. And maybe there's a few other ones here and there, but this is where everybody was hanging out. Just like now, where's everybody hanging out? Facebook. You know, who knows, 10 years from now, it could be some other company. So we were heavily involved. We monitored what was going on. And one of the things we constantly did was anytime there was a customer problem or complaint, I personally took care of it. I didn't let my employees take care of it. I took care of it. Many times you'd have a customer complaint, and before I could even say anything, 5 other customers would chime in and say, hey, don't worry, they'll take care of you. Contact the president, he'll take care of you. And so you have to have that face out there. That person has to be the one talking. You know, the owner of the company, the president of the company. As my company grew, I had general managers, I had other managers, and I would realize the point was I was always out there. So even my general manager would mess up and screw something up. Every person on there would say, oh, well, go see Tim. He'll make sure you get taken care of. And sure enough, that happened. And to this day, I mean, I go back and read some of the posts and see that really being part of that community. You can't step back and, you know, a lot of people will have somebody else tweet from you, have somebody else post on Facebook. Well, yeah, you can do some of that, but you need to have that personal attachment to it. And I think that was something that really helped. The other thing we did was we started doing on our website. We put a lot of content. I mean, everything's content now. And, you know, this was, again, I sold the company in 2002, so a lot has changed, but really a lot hasn't changed. Social media isn't just your Facebook and tweeting. It's getting out in the community and being involved. It's going and holding events. We held a big car show at Hangar 1 at Moffett Field. And if you ever know what Moffett Field is, you know that big hangar. They won't let you in there anymore. But we actually held a car show inside there. We had live bands. We had 5,000 to 10,000 people. And what was the event about? Raising food for the food bank. You couldn't get in unless you brought food. And that really, talk about press coverage we would get. All the magazines would do full page spreads on it. It was awesome. So, I mean, that was just a matter of, you know, we had a show at our business. It grew so big, we couldn't handle it anymore. We had thousands of people coming in, and it was just, it was great publicity. And we, you know, we could have made money on it, but we really gave the donation back to the food bank. So our goal that day was have a fun event. Sure, we sold a bunch of stuff. We had a huge sale and everything. Of course, that's just part of it. But we got known as, you know, that show. And it was one of the best organized, most well-run shows out there. And so we got known for that. And unfortunately, the guy I sold the company to ran into the ground 2 years later, but oh well. You learn from that mistake. Yeah, don't carry any notes either. That's another thing I learned. The other thing I constantly see, and I'm just, like I said, I'm bouncing all over the place here. I could have done a much more organized approach here, is really to watch, you know, negative feedbacks. Google yourself, Google your company, Google your employees. Look out there and see, hey, is there something going on that I don't know about? Because, you know, a lot of times you won't find out about it until this person told you about this that happened. And you want to be there right when it happened. You want to be there and say, hey, this is what happened. Be upfront about it. Explain what happened. And, you know, I've had cases where, you know, ended up, you know, that employee got terminated. You know, and it was because, you know, I found out about something that happened. And it was just like, I'm sorry, this is what happened. That guy's not working here anymore. During the dot-com boom, it really was horrible to hire people. I mean, I had a technician fall asleep under a car. I mean, it was like, could get no employees. All the dot-coms were just dragging every single employee away. It was like, come on, we're up and coming, come and join us. No, forget it, this guy's gonna give me stock options. So it was really tough to retain employees back then. So, you know, being involved and you know, each one of our people had instant messaging. This was just when instant messaging was starting. So all my employees had an instant message. And yeah, you know what? Sometimes they're goofing around, but Ben, you know, my idea was, hey, you're out there communicating and you're getting excitement going with the customers, and they're now pumped up that they can instant message you and talk to you. And again, this is, you know, the beginning days of instant messaging. And it was AOL, if you remember that, good grief. So, like I say, there's, actually I could speak for 2 hours, but I'm glad I got a whole minute and 24 minutes left. Like I said, another thing we put on was we did a DIY seminars, which is really cool. These people got to come in and they got to work on their own cars. And so we put them up on the racks and we teach them how to change the oil. And, you know, sure, it cost me a lot of money. I had to hire a tech and hire a service writer to be there to do all this. But that was building that confidence and that trust. So our customers would go, you know, these guys aren't just trying to make money. They're trying to help us. And I think, you know, that's what it's you know, like, and technology, we'd put a sound clip up of an exhaust, which was something that was awesome. People would go, hey, I want to buy that exhaust, which is the business I talked about, you know, mentioned earlier that I sell all over the North America, and put the sound clip up, and now they can click on it and hear what it sounds like. And they go, oh, that sounds great, I want to buy that. So that's just, you know, a snippet of some of the things that are out there. Another thing is shopping carts. Just some quick little things here. Google has a free shopping cart. You know what? All these other shopping carts cost a fortune. If you don't have the budget, do a simple shopping cart. Get it out there. At least you can get some sales going. Google Voice, another awesome thing, especially for nonprofits. Anyway, and I'll finish up quickly here because I have 13 seconds, which is a good number to go on. The biggest thing I can say is keep abreast of what's happening. Listen to podcasts. Be involved in what's going on, just like you're here today. And if you do all that, at least you know what's going on, and the rest of the business is, you know, something else you have to figure out. It's a whole other world. And I am done. Thanks.